Hey everybody, we're out here on a sunny day in March. Actually it's April now, I guess. Oh, I'm getting behind on things. But anyhow, it's a beautiful day. The sun's out, it's warm, it's t-shirt weather. I'm probably gonna get sunburned today, and that just is what it is. But I'm out on a job here with Osage John. He did that tree tour of Medina County, and I've also done a couple other videos. We did a dead elm tree last year together, and so I've done good enough that he's hired me back at least once more. So he's with us today.
Hey guys.
And we're gonna be working on this oak tree here. We actually have already started on it, and I forgot to take my GoPro out and get up there, but we haven't gotten too much done. It's a pretty straightforward tree. We have this building to contend with and some rough terrain down here, but it's just a down only or a no cleanup or whatever you want to call it. We don't have to worry about hauling things out. And then we're gonna be able to fall this big log all at once, so that'll be pretty easy too. But for the most part, it's going up there and swinging everything down. This is our rigging spar, and it's pretty noodly, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch that thing bounce around. And yeah, I think it'll be pretty good little tree to do. So I went up there, and my 200-foot rope doesn't have a whole lot left on the ground. I think this tree is like 90 or 95 feet at the tips up there, so it's a tall tree. Thankfully, we don't have any more wind. We had a bunch of nasty wind last weekend, and that's all gone. It's just a nice little breeze today. So I'll jump up there and we'll get going. So it's up to you. I like to stand right in front of it and use my belly to hold the handle so it doesn't pop out on me.
Gotcha.
But I'm gonna fall into you, sorry.
All right.
Okay, we're good to go here. Oh, stop for 1 second. Switch the directions on that drill. There we go.
Ready?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Stop! Alrighty, go ahead and take it out and let some slack into the system. Yep, very good, thank you. And then take it all the way out of there. So this property is owned by a fellow who rents out the two houses and uses this storage building to store his tools and equipment. And he's got a super cool skid loader down there, and he's obviously doing some driveway grading, but I just think it's really cool. He's about my age, maybe even a little bit younger, and he's building something for himself in this world, and I think that's fantastic. Alright, so since this tree is really tall, we have a lot to our advantage here in the way of how big of pieces we can swing out of here. So this is the lowest limb, and so what we'll do is we'll probably go up here a little bit higher, tie it on. We will swing the top out of it, you know, butt tie it and swing it out. And then I think we'll do that with the log too. We have been lifting the second half of the limb up on a few occasions. But I'm really not sure that's saving us any time. It does make it less dynamic, but I don't think it's even that necessary in this particular scenario. So here's a little better picture of our rigging spar. As you can see, it's quite thin up there. It's pretty noodly, and it's very long. It's important to note that we have it backed up, you know, so what we're doing is we're splitting the rope angles. When this rope, the side of our rope hangs straight down, you know, half of the angle of the rope is behind the spar and half of it is hanging straight down, and so that loads that stem more vertically, you know, compresses the stem right down the center of the, well, the spar, I guess, and that makes it a lot stronger. Now when stuff swings around, it still moves around a good bit, but loading it that way is way stronger than if our rope went just straight down to the GRCS. All right, I'm ready. One will be enough, and this one will be down only. Oh yeah, I do need a saw. Here we go. Look at it dance. This is what I like about this nice little rope walking system without an ascender. It's so quick and easy to get on and off that you can still use it, you know, throughout different parts of the tree without having to do a bunch of goofing around in between what you're doing. So once I get up here, it's just simple as bam, bam, thank you ma'am, and you're ready to go to work, you know. I like to just hook it to itself, stick it on my belt. Not hard at all. I know it's not for everyone, and that's okay, but that's why I like it. Oh, sorry about that. Do you think you can get that to me here?
Yeah.
Oh! Yes! Very nice. So a lot of folks will do this little half hitch thing here to kind of, you know, add extra friction to things and keep the rope from sliding off the end. But this has another advantage too. It allows us to secure it up here and then also bring the rope down and put the connection point between the rope and the limb right next to where I'm going to cut. So that way as the branch hinges down, you know, a little bit of stretching the rope will take up that movement, and the groundie doesn't have to compensate for that. It gives him less things to do so he can focus on what's most important. So, and then also, you know, you can have this real close to the end, and it's not, if it does slip off, it's not a super high risk. Well guys, I changed my mind about taking this limb whole. It reaches out there nice and far, which isn't a problem. We've got the space, but there's some dead limbs on that other tree, that red oak tree over there, and I don't want to knock those off and have them hit the building. So I'm glad I saw that. I just wish I would have seen it earlier. So what we've done is we've come out farther on this limb, and what that's going to do is that just shortens up our limb a little bit. It shortens up its swing. So I'll make a nice wide mouth cut on this, so that way it tucks in real good, real fast, and that way it'll miss those dead branches down there. And then we'll come back and we'll take this piece. It's going to take a little more time, but it's definitely way better than the risk of sending those branches punching through that new roof down there. So this tree is getting removed as to prevent hazards to that roof and that building in the future. So what a lame situation that would be if we knocked off some dead branches and smacked the roof with them. So that big old white oak over there, it's a little bit bigger than this, well, it's a lot bigger than this one, is also on the docket for removal. So I think we're going to come back to do that one. So if you want to make sure you catch that, be sure to subscribe. I think that'll be a 2-day project probably. Alrighty, now we're back down here at the base of the limb, tied on and ready to cut. Alright, this one we're going to take whole. It should fit no problem. Yeah! Part of something that always reminds me how high I am is how long it takes stuff to fall. That wasn't even that long. Never mind. And this is the next one. And I'm gonna tell you my strategy here. We're gonna take this limb, we're gonna cut it right here. And then because this limb's a little bit smaller, we're gonna go down there and cut it down there and save ourselves the rig of having to get just this tiny little piece of wood out. I guess it's not that tiny, but still something that would be annoying. So this limb's pretty big. It's actually quite large, and it's actually bigger in diameter here than our rigging spar is over there. It's probably one of the bigger limbs we've done today, and it'll probably be one of the biggest limbs we do off of that rigging point, I think. So should be fun. Yeah, that might have been a little much. Oopsie. Okay, here we go in the second half of that first one. It's never gonna get old. Trees are so strong. Starting to feel a little irresponsible taking such big pieces, so we'll do some smaller ones. That was a little better. In a scenario like this, the problem is not so much the weight of the limb so much as it is how it's swinging, because when it swings hard, you know, from way over here in a position that is laterally a lot different than the rigging point, it puts a lot of lateral force on the rigging point when the rope catches the limb and it swings over. So that's the way in which we're pushing the limits with that thing. Not how much weight that spar can support, you know, down straight down the stem in a compressive manner, but just how much force it can take when we're yanking it this way and then yanking it that way and that kind of thing. All right, now on this one, it's pretty long. I got to make sure I get it in between those dead limbs on that tree and the big dead limbs on that tree, which is a pretty big window, but we got to get it right. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Alright, these are the last of the two leaning limbs we have. After that, it's just the top, our rigging spar, and that random one over there. The challenge with these two is that they're hanging right out over that huge dead limb and that other tree that's hanging right over the building. And so we absolutely have no room for error on this in the way that we just can't hit those dead limbs over there. So this stuff's been hinging really good for me today, and we're gonna hinge it. We're gonna point it into that window that we sent a limb into recently, I think, and we're gonna count on that hinge to do the magic for us. This limb is just barely long enough to reach that dead one over there. Yes! That worked out perfectly. And you may have noticed that I made a nice open face cut. You know, it was pretty open. And I made it in a bunch of little small cuts, and the reason for that is I'm close enough to the building down there that I don't want a big old fat face cut falling out and hitting the shingles down there. It may not seem like a big deal, but if hail the size of a marble can do damage to a shingle that warrants their replacement, definitely a face cut wedge can. So I wanted to send the wedge down in as small pieces as possible, just in case something blew over that way or something like that. So we still got this problem with this limb as a whole leaning out over some dead stuff and then over the top of that tree. So I chose to come up here a little bit further and take the two tops out of it, just to minimize damage to that little red oak tree and to keep our chances of hitting that thing extremely low. So we are above our rigging point, so it'll be a little bit negative, but these are not big branches, so we'll be just fine. Ooh. That was probably less than a great rig, to be honest. Just a little too far above things, and then I also sent it towards the block so it loaded the rope all at one time instead of swinging into it nice. You can see a really long way from up here. That's really cool. Probably doesn't look that great in the GoPro, but it's actually really nice. Nice. That was a lot better than the last branch because it kind of sent it so it loaded the rope nice and slow as it came around there. We got it right between that little oak tree and the dead limb. Much better rig. I was much more pleased with that one. Okay, I'm gonna free fall a piece of wood. Bullseye! Alrighty, we are over here on the rigging spar. There's our top, that's all that's left, plus this top. So, don't really have a lot of room to tip it over, even to rig it down or to free fall it. You know, there's nothing down there we gotta really save. But there's just not enough room to swing it over. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our good old slash cut. So we'll see how that works out for us. An important thing to watch out for when you're doing something like this is you don't want that top to come back at you. You know, your piece needs to either be leaning far enough or you need to pause in your slash cut and let it lean out from you before you send it, because that top can come back and rake you really hard and it can mess you up. That worked out perfectly. Could not have been more happy with that. It's also super important to line up your cuts very closely with this. I like to make a slash cut on something my saw can't cut real fast through if it's too big in diameter, or this is just oak. And whenever you're making an angled cut, saws cut slower. So that also gives that kerf a little opportunity to close on the bottom side here, and that lets the piece lean out a little bit farther from you. And that kind of helps with things too. Alrighty here, this is the last of the tree. We've got just this top. We're going to take it all at once. It's got weight this direction, so it should be pretty easy. We'll have John on the ropes down there, and we're going to hope he lets it run nice and good for us, because I don't feel like going for a ride up here. Pretty sure this point's somewhere around 90 feet. How many wraps you got on there? Two? Okay.
You want me to put another one on there? I just don't want to shake you.
No, I wouldn't want any more than two. Just let it run the best you can for me. Here we go. baby. It's all good. I didn't get hurt, just knocked me off my spikes.
I guess one wrap would have been better.
You said one wrap would have been better?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought maybe, but I wasn't going to challenge you. You've been running ropes all day. I figured you knew better than I did, so. Alrighty, well, that pretty much wraps up our work here today. I'm gonna jump down out of this tree. Gonna take a couple chunks off and just drop them, not a big deal. Probably down to that next union. And I think we're gonna fall this stem either out there or out somewhere. I don't know. That'll be another day though. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate all you guys that watch. It really means a lot to me that you find interest in what I do every day. And appreciate your comments and everything like that. Also, thank everybody for that subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing. That helps the channel a lot, and that's really encouraging to know that it's worth subscribing to. So we'll hope to see you guys on the next one. Alrighty guys, it's this was like a week later, something like that, and we're gonna knock the stick down from this tree. We're actually here finishing up that tree, so if you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe because it'll be coming here soon. But either way, we're gonna send this stick right down in between there. Now, I possibly could pull this off, but John can definitely pull it off. So John's gonna make the cuts here. I'm gonna film, and you're gonna see it land right in there. First try. Well, there it lays. She turned out just right. She jumped off the stump and went to the side a little bit, but take a look at the grain in this stump. It's really nice looking. I'm sure that'll be a beautiful log on the mill for whoever gets it. But thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button for John. He did a great job with this tree falling and with this whole job, honestly. So thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.